Hey guys, this is just a quick one. I've been trying to figure out how to cut handles on my chopping boards like this, consistently. And I found a ton of jigs on YouTube that people have made. But the problem I have with them is my chopping boards aren't always the same width. And they do make their jigs so that they're adjustable so that you can center it on a different width board. But it just all seemed too cumbersome for me. So I was thinking about it and I came up with my solution. You might like it and you might not, but I'll show you anyway. Secure the chopping board to my bench. I don't have a clamp, so I just put a piece of plywood there on the edge. I put a little cleat it can rest on. And probably like many of you, I just used a couple squeeze clamps that hold it tight in place. This held it more than enough to do what I was doing. It was quite secure. And so once it's firmly in place, we can move on. So what I've done is I've put the edge guide on the router and I line the bit up with the center of the board, and it doesn't have to be like exactly perfect. You just got to be pretty close to the center of the board. It doesn't make a whole bunch of difference if you're a millimeter off, at least in my opinion. But with my router, I have a flat edge, and over here I have a rounded edge. And my thought was, I'll just put a stop over here so the router can, let me get a better angle, so the router can only go that far. And then I have a stop on this side, so the router stops, right up against that. But as you notice, the stop on the left here is significantly smaller than the stop on the right, and that's because this edge is flat. It doesn't round out like the other side, so this stop had to be a bit wider. Once I figured out how thick to make the stops, it's really very simple. I'll show you. Hold on. So once I have the chopping board secure, I just take the two spacers I made up, and I literally just made these. This one here is just stuck on with two-sided tape. I did put a bit of CA glue on that one. Take them, put them on the edge of the chopping board. Just take a squeeze clamp. Lock them in place. Take your router that you have all set up. Put it on and it stops in the exact right place. And you can make those stops thick enough that you can, dictate how wide or how long you want your handle slot to be. This works for me, but clearly you could customize this in any way that you think would suit yourself. Yeah, I did get a little bit of tear out right there. Not the end of the world. I can fix that with a bit of sanding. Let's see how I did. So this handle is 81.5 millimeters from the edge. This side is 82.82, just about 82 millimeters from the edge, 81.6. This is exactly centered for all practical purposes, and it was really quick to set up once I had my little spacers set on there. And you could make different spacers for different width cutting boards if you have standard boards that you make. But for the most part, I think I could use those spacers for most boards that I make, even if this space on the edge wasn't as big. If I had a narrower board, it wouldn't matter to me if the handle ran longer. I'm not bothered by that at all. I'm just thrilled that this works and it's so simple. And as far as the depth of cut, I simply set the initial depth that I wanted to plunge in, so it wasn't too deep. I didn't want to take out too much at first. I set my stop, and then I cut that depth all the way down. Back it up. Just turn your depth stop. Then you can go down. Then you can go down a little bit deeper. make your hole cut, come back to the beginning, turn your depth stop, plunge all the way down to that depth, make your length of cut. And I went to the fourth one for myself, and that depth seemed to work good for me. But I just found that using the depth stop in this way made it simple and then very consistent between the two sides of the board. Okay, so I just did the other side. The setup was so fast. It was like 2 minutes, if that, to set this up, to be able to cut the handle on the other side. And using the depth stop that way, like, there's no burn marks. You know, it's a little, you can see a little bit of darker grain there, but it's not what I consider a burn mark anyway. But yeah, super simple, works great. Thanks for watching.